Hello there. Welcome to my channel. If this is the first time you're watching my video, subscribe. It is the visa to getting notifications each time subsequent videos will be uploaded. That said, let us go to Yaoundé for updates. I know it's been a while since I came out to bring you updates on the forthcoming presidential election that is billed for October the 12th. The reason I've been quiet is because I was keeping tabs on some very important developments. We were trying to find out if these things we're hearing are a fact rather than just a rumor. And I can authoritatively tell you that what we gathered is indeed a fact. It is a fact that Ferdinand Gongo is already putting together a government that will manage Cameroon after the October 12th presidential election. That is when the Constitutional Council must have declared candidate Biya, who happens to be the incumbent, as winner of that election. And so, Gongo knows what is at stake. Gongo understands that should candidate Biya be declared winner and has 7 more years to be president of Cameroon, anything can happen. Meaning that he could die in active service. And if should it be the case, then Nyat Njifenji Marcel, president of the Senate, per the constitution, will become the man to sit in the driving seat and run the affairs of the country. But considering his age, his dwindling health, it is a problem. And that is why, being sneaky and smart as he is, Gongo has decided to bring in what was put into the constitution in 2019, that is the position of vice president. Yes. So we might just see Gongo become the vice president of Cameroon after the presidential election billed for October the 12th. By then, the Constitutional Council must have declared candidate Biya as the winner. Then, Mr. Biya will remain missing and mute as usual, while Gongo executes the functions of president and vice president. And should Mr. Biya die in active service, he automatically becomes president and will also organize an election that will be taken hostage by irregularities and malpractices. And he too will be declared winner and will continue in the same vein as his mentor, Mvondo Paul Biya. So you begin to understand what is happening. And remember that, like in the past, it is supposed to be president from either the French-speaking part of Cameroon and the vice, the English-speaking part of Cameroon, or president from the English-speaking part of Cameroon and the vice, the French-speaking part of Cameroon. But like it is said, Desperate times call for desperate measures. And so they don't care if the people are going to question their action of having the president a francophone and the vice president a francophone. So you see that these guys are so desperate and will go to any length to stay in power. But there is a plan to thwart theirs. That is why the Alliance for Change, headed by Jean-Michel Ninche and other members, Anissa Dekane, Maurice Kamto, have called on Cameroonians through a recent communique put out by the leadership of Manidem that Cameroonians should be alert. They should stay alert and focused because they will be needed to join them in the struggle for change. So you understand now what is at stake. There is something going on in Yaoundé. There is never a time in the history of that party and that government when they have been hit by so much pressure and tension like now. They are feeling the heat, though they have control of everything. The electoral body, the Constitutional Council, the polling stations, everything they have control over. But the pressure and tension at the moment has got to the apex. They can hardly sleep. They can hardly handle it. So some very desperate measures are being taken, like the forming of a government with Ngongo as vice president. Whereas the position of vice president, should the president be a francophone, is supposed to be for an anglophone. Why? While if the president is an anglophone, the position of vice president is supposed to go to a francophone. But you see, because of how desperate they have become, they no longer respect the laws of the land. And that is how it is going to be until they are finally kicked out of a system. Then there is a renewed feud between Mouelle Kombi and Samuel Eto'o. Mouelle Kombi is questioning Samuel Eto'o on irregularities and malpractices ahead of election at the level of Ilekam, at the level of Fecafoot. But the question is, Mouelle Kombi should understand that Samuel Eto'o is a child of the system. Samuel Eto'o belongs to the system. Samuel Eto'o is very close to the president and very close to government officials. And he is learning. He's a young guy who is very intelligent. He is learning and learning really quick. Mouelle Kombi says Samuel Eto'o has kicked out almost all potential threat to his candidacy. Well, just like Mr. Biya, through Ngongo, the electoral body and the Constitutional Council have done, kicked out Professor Maurice Kamto in order for the route to victory to be wide. How dare you accuse Samuel Eto'o, Mouelle Kombi? It's because you don't have something to do as Minister of Sports and Physical Education. You don't have something to do. If you had work to be doing in your office, you will not have time for Samuel Eto'o and his drama. But sorry, that's Cameroon. Now, Issa Chiroma Bakari and Bello Buba, the Grand North, flexing their muscles, threatening the government in place. And immediately after their rally there, or their meeting, or whatever way you want to put it, the CPDM went there too. That is what I tell you about the Grand North, the heartbeat. In a free, fair, and transparent election, if you win the Grand North, you win the election. So you can understand why all these people are rushing to the Grand North. But you know, decision day is still to come. Decision day is still to come. We'll keep you posted.